Okay, so now that part's in the oven. I'm just going to show you the cleanup for Cerakote. It's really easy. Pretty much anything that has Cerakote in it, or on it, just take and clean it off with acetone. Wet Cerakote will come off nice and easy with acetone, and if you do make a mistake in the Cerakoting process, and it's on one of your parts, you don't just want to take the Cerakote off by tossing it in acetone and just cleaning off the coating. What you want to do is make sure that it gets partially cured in the oven for only about 20-25 minutes, and then you just sandblast it off like I did, and then that's what you do. You don't just clean it off because the coating's already penetrated the metal in the little microscopic valleys of the metal where you sandblasted it. So you'll have to re-sandblast everything. You'll have to go back through the process of cleaning and degreasing. You're pretty much going to have to do all the steps that I just did, and that will get it to the point where you can recoat it and get it cleaned back up. And that's how you would deal with a mistake in the Cerakoting process, is just pretty much start all over. There's no sanding. Don't do that. It's not going to do anything. You might be able to recoat it after you sanded it, but it's not going to get in, and it won't be as effective as if you just go back and re-sandblast it. So if it's a piece that you're doing and you're doing a couple different guns that day or anything like that, just pretty much make sure that it's blasted, and that's really all you need to do. And cleanup for it's really easy. Like I said, I'm showing it right now. Just acetone, 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 and just anything that has Cerakote on it, just take acetone and blast it off. That includes the air gun too. I just take the top off of it, douse the top of it in some acetone, swirl that around in there. Make sure that it gets everything out. Looks like it did, but just to be sure, I'm going to put it in there, twist it around a bit, swirl it. Give it a minute or so to work on that while I clean the filter of the gun. And what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of acetone in the cup here, and just put that in, and then just pull the trigger on the spray gun, so that way the acetone runs all the way through the gun, gets all the stuff that has the coating on it, and it gets everything out of there. And then just let it kind of dribble out of there. And that'll clean out the tip of the gun. That'll clean out all the internals. You could disassemble it and then douse everything in it, but this is sufficient to clean up most of the stuff that you're going to deal with. And it does a really good job. I used this gun yesterday, and I used the same cleanup method, and the gun didn't get all gummed up or anything like that with Cerakote. So just to be sure that everything's out, inspect the gun, make sure it's nice and clean. And I didn't get any on the gun itself, it was just in the interior of it, so I'm not going to like disassemble the gun and blast it or anything like that. But what I am going to do is make sure that it gets hooked back up to my air compressor. And then just pull the trigger to get everything out of there. And just pull the trigger, make sure everything's out of there and it's blowing clear air. It's not blowing anything with mist to it, because that means that you still have something in there. Whether it's acetone or whether it's Cerakote, it doesn't matter what it is, it's still going to be a problem if you have anything left in there. And I'm just going to clean the filter off because I was stupid enough to put that down on a dirty bench, which is not good. And then just put the filter back in, blow it off some more. I'm going to open up the top of the spray gun here. I'm just going to switch attachments now. I'm just going to take that off. Then I'm going to open up the head of the spray gun. Look inside there, see if there's anything that got left in there. Looks like there's a little bit of residue in there that I can just get out with my finger and clean glove. And then you just swish it around in there, get everything out, get it out of the top of the sprayer, get it out of the sprayer itself, and then you can also just let it dry. But what I usually do to make sure that it gets everything out of there and it's dry is what I'm going to do here, which is just take some compressed air, hook up my air gun again, and just blast it out of there. And make sure that everything's out, everything's been cleaned up, all of that. Alright, so my air gun's hooked back up. Just going to blow off the gun. Blow off the top of the spray gun. Blow the cup out. Make sure that everything's out of there, the acetone, the Cerakote, everything. Alright, and that's the cleanup for the spray gun. For the graduated cylinder, same thing. Just drop out any acetone by putting it back over the degrease tank that you have. Blast it out. There we go. And with the squeeze bottle, since that's been sitting for a little bit, I'm going to put more acetone in there. Then just drop it out and spray it. Alright, and blast out the head of the squeeze bottle there. Alright, so we've cleaned out the spray gun, we've cleaned out the graduated cylinder, and we've cleaned out the bottle that we used to mix it with. If you had a stir stick instead of a shaker bottle like I used, depending on what it was, you could clean up the stir stick, again, just with acetone. With most stir sticks, it really won't matter because you could just use a popsicle stick or something like that and you could just toss it out. And I just like using the shaker bottle just because it's something that I had, it works, and it leaves easy to dump in their mix. And it gives you something sealed to put it in so you don't get junk in your spray gun. And what you could use to make sure that you don't have anything that gets into your Cerakote mix is you could also get paint filters. And I do have those for the 100 to 120 grit contaminants, but of course I don't have them here, which is why I just use the shaker bottle. But you could use a strainer to make sure that you get everything out of there, but in my case I didn't. But that's what Cerakote recommends, is straining your Cerakote through a paint strainer. And they're pretty cheap. You can get them for about $5 for a pack of 100 of them at Harbor Freight. That's what I did, but of course they're in my trunk now and not in the shop. But you could use a strainer instead of the shaker method. And now the part is still in the oven curing process. So I'm pretty much just going to go in and watch TV for about another half hour. But just to be sure that I have everything out of the sprayer, I'm going to just blast that a couple more times to make sure that everything's cleared out of it. And now my air compressor is almost out of air. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the drain in the bottom of the tank to make sure that it doesn't have any air trapped in there. And I'm also going to clean out the air filter that's attached to the tank and make sure that doesn't have any junk in there or any water left in there or any oils or anything like that. But that's really more compressor maintenance, which I'm not going to get into. But if you want to see that, just look it up on YouTube. There's plenty of other videos out there. And that's pretty much it. That was Cerakoting a 1911 grip safety. And that's what you have to do to Cerakote anything, pretty much. That's the process. Hope you guys liked it.